a Target exclusive one. I have my matcha ready. Oh my god. She did what? I'm so confused. No, 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 no. Sick. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia and today is going to be the Onyx Storm reading vlog. I have been waiting for this book to come out for over a year. I read Iron Flame as soon as it came out, and I read Fourthwing around September, October time of 2023, and so I didn't have to wait long for Iron Flame to come out. And then as soon as I was done with Iron Flame with that diabolical cliffhanger, I was like everyone else waiting for when any news was coming out for the third book. And then Onyx Storm was announced, and of course it got announced to be released on my birthday, and so I got the gift of Onyx Storm to come out on my actual birthday, which I'm so happy about. I've already read Onyx Storm at this point. I'm just giving an intro now because I didn't get a chance to intro. This vlog will be a mixture of non-spoiler and spoiler. I will put all the spoilers parts at the end, so if you are here just to hear my non-spoiler review and my non-spoiler reactions to it, I will be putting that towards the end, but I will clearly mark on when to not go further. I am so excited for this reading vlog. It's been one of my most anticipated reads of this year. I can't wait for you guys to see my thoughts and hear my thoughts about everything that has happened, and I wanted to do a dedicated video on this because of how much I love the Empyrean series so much and how much of an anticipated release that it was for me. So come along for the ride in the emotional turmoil that this video is going to be. I'm preparing you this for now because it will be my very raw reactions both in the spoiler and non-spoiler parts. So I hope you all enjoy and come along for the ride. So I am back, and guess what I have in my hands? She is so pretty. Okay, I'm officially gonna go into radio silence on my social medias until I finish this because I don't want to get spoiled, and I'll try my best not to spoil anybody else online until they're done. So I'll just scream to myself for a little bit, but yeah. Oh my god. I'm gonna get started reading on this, so you'll know my full reaction soon. Hi everyone, good morning. I did get up early this morning because I went with my boyfriend to go see if I can get the Target exclusive edition, because I did stay up last night until maybe 12 trying to get onto the Target website. It was absolute chaos. Literally, I kept adding the book to my cart for like order pickup because I heard online that somebody said that they were able to get it for order pickup, so I decided to do that because I was afraid that my local Targets were not going to have enough copies. So I was online like everybody else, and it kept adding to my cart, and then it kept disappearing from my cart, and it kept telling me there were errors in my purchase when there wasn't, but that was just freaking insane. But obviously I didn't get anything in my cart, so I decided to wake up early and went to my local Target that is open open at 8. So I decided to wake up early on my birthday. Oh, it's my birthday, by the way, guys. Yeah, the perfect gift was Rebecca Yaros releasing Onyx Storm. It's like she knew it was my birthday or something. So thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, we went in the morning and we got up around like 6:30. We got to my local Target around like a little bit after 7, and there was already 4 people in line. And that Target that we went to is a lot smaller than majority of the Targets in our city. So we went there, thankfully, maybe around 7:30, 7:45. One of the employees came out stating that they were gonna let us in by 4s. So I was able to get a Target exclusive one. Look at how pretty and different the lettering is to it in comparison to the deluxe edition. The lettering is different. This one looks a lot shinier. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a difference between the spines and of course the sprayed edges. There is a full colored map in here. There are illustrations in this book, but I will not go through them until I finish Onyx Storm, because just in case if there's any spoilers in them or anything. I'm about 141 pages in because I did spend some time reading last night before waiting for the exclusive edition to drop at midnight, but I decided to stop because of course I had to wake up early, and now I'm just so ready to move on. What's been happening so far, without giving anything away, is I'm feeling very different vibes in this book than I did from Fourthwing and Iron Flame. The way it's formatted is a lot similar to Fourthwing, how it was the same text size, and I'm so scared. There's been a lot of action scenes so far. There's been a lot of answers to questions we've had the past 2 books, but at the same time, those answers came up with more questions. And now I am like freaking out because they keep referring to what happened in Iron Flame. If you haven't read Iron Flame, I don't know why you're watching this review of Onyx Storm if you haven't picked up Fourthwing and Iron Flame yet, but sometimes people just want to know, so I get it. But so far, some relationships are strained. So the students are trying to deal with their new reality because they are trying to intermingle with new characters that were introduced in Iron Flame, and now they have to work together in it, and now they have to also deal with the consequences of the big event that happened at the last book and the big kind of like fight that happened in Iron Flame. Also, they have to deal with the consequences of that. And I am loving Violet so far in this book. She is giving no F's in this book. She is not caring. She is still that worried like scribe knowledge gaining person, but right now she's being more smart about things. She's figuring out what she's doing, and what I'm hearing is that Onyx Storm is sort of like her reputation era, and I'm so here for it because I am down with my girl Violet being stronger than she was before, and I am so happy to see that she is holding up her own in this book rather than depending on the other people in this book who are, or depending on Xaden, or depending on her like friends to be pushing her, and she's taking action on her own. There are some plans that she's made already and she's executing here. I am like so down for. Seriously though, I'm just ready for her to go off on everyone. It's the usual Fourthwing and Iron Flame character trope where there's always an Umbridge kind of person in every single book that you end up hating. And there's a character that is reintroduced in this book that absolutely everyone despises, and he gives even more reason to despise him in this book. Here we are. I am loving it so far. I'm so sad that I'm already 114 pages in because I don't want to be, and I have so many things that I wanted to talk about. I do have some theories that are kind of coming true. I'm about 32% into the book, and I'm trying not to binge this, but this is the only book I'm reading currently because obviously this is my biggest anticipated release, and I'm loving it so far. I already feel like it's already gonna be a 5 stars. I have my matcha ready. I am so here for it, and I might not be reading too much today because it is my birthday and I do want to hang out with my boyfriend for a little bit. I did celebrate over the weekend, so I'm not doing anything big. In all honesty, I kind of just want to like have dinner and then read the whole entire day. Come along, and I will be saying all my thoughts and everything, so get ready. A lot of things just happen right now that are heading towards a direction that I feel is literally what I predicted. I'm still not too sure how I feel about this because it just feels weird, because we might get a new perspective soon, and also the mission that they were sent on to retrieve an item for propel the story forward. It's really hard to do a non-spoiler review for a 3rd book in the series, by the way, but I'm gonna give my general thoughts as much as possible. So the mission that they just went on kind of resulted in some act that I kind of like predicted, because some of the people that are accompanying them in this mission is very incompetent and also not right right for these missions, and turns out I was right. It's leading towards a sort of conclusion that I'm not too sure if I'm ready for. Yeah, right now this is the point where I'm at. I'm about to be in chapter 20. It's about 11:16 right now, so I think I'm gonna take a break for a little bit, and I'm gonna go get some Korean barbecue later too with my boyfriend. But right now I'm really loving it, and we're getting so much and yet so little at the same time of different things. There's so many new characters in this that have been talked about before in the previous books that are kind of making appearances here and there, and I'm trying to see how important they're going to be in the future, so we'll see. Chapter 27 was filled with chaos, that's for sure.
Baby softly, yeah. 매일 on and on, 계속 보는 널. Baby come and show me. Take my heart, I never thought I could love this hard. Oh, I can't get enough.
So I have some updates. I read a lot last night. And I'm about maybe a little over 100 pages left to go, and there was so much that's happened. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. There are some revelations that we've gotten from all the traveling that we've done through different like kingdoms that we're going through and everything, and we're meeting different creatures, especially since their main reason of traveling is to be able to find help in order to be able to help with the conflict that they're going through, like the big war that they're working through. So they're traveling to go through that right now. But we keep getting more information about a certain aspect of Violet, basically like more information of her dragon connection, and there is some sort of thing that is like manifesting and everything. But we keep getting hints of that, but we keep getting like a hint of it, and then it won't be talked about for like a chapter or two. And it's driving me nuts because I just want to know what this is. I am so ready to know what this is, and I'm like foaming at the mouth to find out what it is, but there is not a clear concrete answer yet to what this is. And I'm so nervous because the problem that we went through in the last book, it's becoming more and more prevalent. The problem is getting stronger, and now we don't know what's going to happen with some of the characters because the problem just keeps getting stronger. But now there are more people getting the information now, and there's so many revelations of new people we're finding out about, and I'm just so ready to find out more answers, because it's like this is the problem when you are like going through huge series like this, like 5 book series like this that you're anticipating the releases for. You will get answers to some problems and some questions, but then you will get more questions also, because along with these answers more information comes out that you're like, wait, what? How is that happening this? How did that happen? Oh, what answer? What does that mean? You know? So that's where I'm at right now. I am almost done with the book, and I'm so sad because I don't want to be done with it yet, because who knows when we're gonna get the next one, and the next 2 will be heading towards the conclusion, and I'm so sad to be almost done with this. I'm at that point where I want to be done with it, but at the same time I don't want to finish it because I don't know what I'm gonna feel afterwards. I already know I'm gonna go into a slump. I'm going to pick up another book. I'm not too sure what the next one will be, but I already know I'm going to go in a slump. I am tempted to reread Throne of Glass just so I can like dive into a world that I know I love and I know what the information is, so that I don't dive into a new world of like a new story and then be disappointed because it's not in this world we're here, and I'll be so upset if like it's not the world of this. And I just want more of the characters in this, and I'm so ready for it to be done. And I already freaking cried twice because there's a conversation that was had between 2 of the characters that kind of made one of the characters more aware of how problematic a situation is, and made this person aware of what choices they're willing to make when it comes down to it. And I cried during this conversation because like it's easy to be inside the perspective of one character and then be unaware of other things that could possibly go wrong and other consequences that could happen. And when they brought clarity to this situation, I just start crying because I'm like, it's such a hopeless situation, so I don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm scared to see what's gonna happen. Wanted to give like a proper outro to this video because everything was such an emotional roller coaster, and I wanted to convey my final thoughts on Onyx Storm. I absolutely love this book. This book was everything that I wanted it to be, and I wanted to also go over how I love Xaden and Violet's relationship in this book. There was no miscommunication like it was in Iron Flame. This was the book that I dreamed of, that I wanted it to be, and was I the only one who felt halfway through how different this book was compared to the other 2? I felt like this book was taking turn to expanding the world more. It was focusing away from the point where they are in a college and they're young, and now they're being all forced to grow up to participate in this war that is affecting all of their homes and every single person that they love. So I don't know when the next book is going to be released. I've been hearing that she might not release it till 2027. I don't know how much truth that is, because I don't think it was from Rebecca Yarros herself that she announced this. I think she just stated that after Onyx Storm, she didn't like the timeline that it was made into, so she decided she's going to take a longer break that she took in between Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, which I really do not mind, because if it takes her time to write a really well thought out last 2 books actually, and she needs to take a break in order for it to be well written, I am completely on board. I am willing to wait to have a really good book in our hands within the next few years. I want her to take her time to give these characters a proper, I guess, like send off, because this is going to be the last 2 books, and I'm so sad that we're on the 3rd book already. I was thinking of just like prolonging it a few more days because I wanted to savor it a little bit more, but once we got to last 30%, that's it. I knew I had to finish and I needed to know what was happening. I absolutely gave this book a full 5 stars. I'm so happy that I read it, and it's everything that I wanted it to be. And with my ranking, I think for like the Empyrean series, if I had to choose, I would have to say that this is number 1, and number 2 is Fourthwing, and number 3 is Iron Flame so far in the series. Now, if you made it this far, this is transitioning into my spoiler part, so if you do not want any spoilers in Onyx Storm, if you have not read it, this is your last warning, and also this is probably going to be the longest part of the video as well, so exit now if you don't want any spoilers. So this is for my spoiler section now. What is going on? They are trying to deal with Xaden being Venom, of course, because that was the last like heartbreaking ending in the last book. There's one scene where he slowly almost siphoned in the middle of losing control because he was making out with Violet. He's trying to hold himself back from her. They're not seeing each other. Like, we're seeing little like cute scenes between them here and there, but they are not to the point where it's like how it was in Iron Flame and Fourthwing. And I think Rebecca is being intentional about that, because I feel like she's preparing us for the ending where they might not be together for the next book, or they might just be completely on opposite sides, and I'm so scared. Okay, so chapter 5, when Ara is being so hateful as a wing leader, trying to make people fight against each other, against the Flyers, the Griffins. They are so unwelcoming to the Griffins right now, which is understandable because they've been enemies for so long, but there's bigger problems right now. There's huger problems because there's literally Venom that they fought, and the timeline is like, I guess 2 weeks ago, and they fought these Venoms 2 weeks ago, and having unrest between the 2 allies is not going to help them defeat these Venoms. These Venoms are powerful and strong, and no one knows how to fight them besides maybe Violet, the other marked ones who know how to fight these Venoms, because they've known for a while what they were. But these cadets who are focusing on fighting the Griffins rather than, you know, trying to reunite for a common enemy, would rather fight amongst themselves because the writers feel that they were abandoned by Violet and Xaden and them because they were left to defend Basgiath on their own. They were given a choice though. They were given a choice to leave and they chose not to, or either their dragons chose for them not to. It's not their fault, and it's not their fault that some people decided to not back and let the enemy win, especially if it's an enemy that is unknown, that is proven to unalive people, and unaliving people by siphoning from the earth, siphoning their magic, and it can have a free source right there and then. So Jack Barlow is in the jail right now. I guess they have some sort of like force field around him so that he can't escape, and also it's slowly draining him because he's not feeding from the source. Violet decided to go interrogate him to ask him questions about, you know, general questions about Venom without implicating too much of how worried she is for Xaden, because obviously Jack already knows that Xaden is turning Venom because of the last conversation that Xaden went to go have with Jack and Iron Flame. She was asking him how Venoms are able to learn how to drain from the source, and apparently it's not that easy if, for example, infantry and healers are not able to have magic source because they're not used to channeling, and so they have to have a basic knowledge of that first before they're able to do draw from the earth. Oh my god, there's so much happening in this book. Okay, so 114 pages is a lot to have a lot of events to happen. So there's one scene where I guess like Dane's dad, General Atos, oh by the way, why promoted to general in the Basgiath College? He took over Violet's mom's place, and I'm so mad about that because that was their family family area for the longest time. He is being such a major villain. I think he's the major villain in this book besides the villain, obviously. The big problem they're having with the Griffins right now, sorry, my thoughts are all over the place, so bear with me. My brain will go all over the place, so I'm trying to be as concise and organized as possible, so please bear with me. The biggest conflict they have right now in Basquiat, not only the Griffins and the writers like fighting with each other because of the fact that they're enemies, they are dealing with the fact that they are trying to create alliances between the two nations. And so the biggest problem that they're having is that they want to keep the Griffins on Basquiat, but of course because of the wards they are not able to wield, which makes them very, very vulnerable. And so Violet figures out a plan where she is able to counteract some of the barriers of the stone that is warding their whole entire college. She figures it out because she's a brilliant woman, in Xaden's words, and she figures it out. The Flyers are able to get their powers back. So she finds a way, and of course she kind of intentionally leaves her like patch there so they were able to find it, and there's sort of like a trial and hearing that she's taken to. And freaking Atos is the one who comes into her classroom to haul her away, and he's so happy about it. Like, for real, guy, why are you so obsessed with a 21-year-old? Seriously, you have some major issues. I hate to say this, I feel kind of bad for Dane, because there's one scene where like Atos is back, he eyes his son and Dane calls him dad, and Atos looks him straight in the face and says, I have no son. Like, who does that? Who really does that? Of course Atos does, because he's a freaking villain and he's the worst. So I already have a hated character in this book. Oh, and by the way, Xaden is the Duke of Tyrandor now, because I guess to thank him for helping out with the fight at Basquiat, they decide to give him his lands back, so he's the Duke now. So he's on the council and able to judge on things, and he was on the council when they were trying to trial Violet against like what she did with the ward stone. They're so good to each other. I love them and I love their scenes, but it's painful at the same time. Violet doesn't get punished, she gets scathe-free, and of course Atos is not happy about that, so he punishes her and sends her and her squad off to the front lines where it's very, very like strained right now. It's one of the dangerous front lines that they could go to, so he sends them there. There is where she finds out that the Venom are able to wield powers like the writers, and now not only are they dealing with people who can like channel from the source, they can also, their villain just got stronger. And there's a scene where I guess she is getting attacked and we almost like lose Taryn, by the way, and I almost broke down crying because the anxiety was for real, because I seriously thought Rebecca Yarros like let us lose Taryn in the first 50 pages, and I was not gonna be happy about that. He was fine, he was just knocked unconscious, but she runs into the silver-haired Venom and we find out her name is Theophany, and she finds out Theophany is a lightning wielder. Like, what? What is going on right now? And oh, and Garrick shows up to, I guess, like help her. She is in trouble because Theophany's after her. Well, out of nowhere, I guess Garrick comes out of nowhere with his dragon Crag. I think that's how you pronounce his dragon's name. But he comes out of nowhere and helps Violet out, and that's when Taryn gets knocked out and everything. Oh, and find out Garrick's signet, by the way. He's a wind wielder. I guess she is trying to put two and two together because I guess with the timeline and everything, it was impossible for him to be able to travel within a 40-minute period because Basquiat is about 12 hours away from the area that they're stationed. So Violet is like putting two and two together, and she finds out that he's a distance wielder, which is rare. I don't think they've had a distance wielder in hundreds of years. So I already know that's gonna come into play later, but we finally know his signet, which is wind wielder, but he has a freaking second signet as distant wielder. Like, what? I think it's leaning toward Garrick and Imogen having sort of like a romance or relationship. I know that Imogen has wanting Garrick for like so many years, and I'm so excited to see that, but there's so much going on, guys. It feels so different from how it was in Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, and it's like she's trying to give us the answers that we've been asking for a little bit, but there's still like secrets that are being hidden. Oh, we finally know what the seventh den is called. They are called iridescence. Theophany like revealed this whole entire thing to Violet, and then she went on with a speech saying that they were waiting for Violet to join because they knew that she would join with Xaden at her side. Oh my gosh, and they still want her really badly because they want her power, and I'm just so freaked out. What is happening? I think that's all what I want to talk about right now. I'm gonna keep on reading. I also forgot to mention that I don't know if you guys saw Rebecca Yarros's Instagram, but she released a playlist for when she was writing Onyx Storm. She said it's the vibe of Onyx Storm, and she said that, oh, it might or might not be in order with the book. We shall see. Let's be in pain together. Let me read off the songs that are on here. Vigilante by Taylor Swift is on here, which I feel like it's for Violet, and so it goes. Wildest Dreams, Remember the Name by fourthwing. Love that song. Why is Skinny Love on here? This song is so painful. New Romantic is on here. Willow, Circus, Britney Spears. I wonder, oh my god. Why is Only Exception on here by Paramore? Lavender Haze, Beautiful Trauma. Tolerate It? Oh no. I did something bad. Don't Blame Me, Lovely. Silence, Venom by Venom from freaking the Venom movie. Seriously? Why is You're Losing Me on here? One of the most painful songs ever. Why is You're Losing Me on here? We Go Down Together in the End, and Hallelujah. This is gonna hurt me, isn't it? Oh no. Oh, and what I also forgot to go over is, okay, so this is the predictions I have. Number 1, Xanon will leave Violet and go straight to the Venons. That's my biggest prediction. There's gonna be a major character death, so either Mira or one of the friends. I have the biggest feeling it's gonna be Imogene. I don't want to though. She's become one of my favorite characters, so I'm not even gonna like talk about it. Nope. Next one is we will go to the Isle Kingdom. They are having plans to go find the 7th den, but it's not working out too well right now because the people that she is trying to assemble to become like that sort of like task force is gonna go with her to find out about the 7th den that Andarna is a part of is not the people that she wants to be on there, and I don't want to do an expedition with these people, so let's hope something happens where they just up and change it. But we're gonna go see the Isle Kingdom. We'll finally know what is in Papa Sorrengail's research, which I feel like it's already gonna come true because we just found out where his research is. Violet kept alluding to the fact that she knew where her father's research was, and it was always in the spot where he spent most of his time after hours. And you figured out, oh, it's General Sorrengail's office. Now we know where it is, and hopefully we'll get in our hands soon so we could start reading it. So that one is already coming true. The last one, that's my 5th prediction that's going to happen at the end, is our girl is going to turn Venom to save Xaden. I don't know if I'm hoping for this or not, but it's just that I don't want them to be apart. So whether they're together as writers or they're together as Venom, I don't care. And I'm really, really interested to see how things are run on the Venom side of things, because the way the Venom are like alluding to certain like structures and organizations that are happening in their side of things, and how the sages run, and they have different levels, and one of this a maven. There's no way that we're not gonna go explore their world for a little bit. They are mentioned way too much for us to not know more about them, and the only way to get more of their side on it is to a POV from one of our main characters in there. So either Violet is gonna go and turn Venom and be with Xaden, or Xaden is finally gonna get a POV in the next book, because I have yet to see a POV from him, and he is going to either get a POV and completely leave Violet at the end, or Violet has to go with him. That's my biggest prediction, and we shall see if that actually happens. I don't know what's going on, and I'm just waiting for some answers at this point, but let's continue reading. I'm ready to get comfy and like read the majority of the day with my blanket, my matcha, and let's go. Okay, they have Papa Sorrengail's research, right? They're trying to figure out, there's a password that is needed to enter it because protections around it, right? So there is sort of like a 6-letter word that they have to figure out. The only hint that Papa Sorrengail left was first love is irreplaceable. So they're talking about it, her and her squads, because she's trying to figure out like what 6-letter word would it be. They're talking about if Brendan had a first love, if Mira had a first love. Mira, I don't think she ever fell in love. Brendan was in a relationship with somebody who was like a couple years older than him, and it's another writer. I think we know who it is. As you know, Arik is there. King Kari's son, Halden, is supposed to join the expedition. So every time Halden gets mentioned on page, Violet has sort of like a reaction towards it. And I'm like, Violet? There's a part where Arik turns around and looks at her and says, how many letters? And she's like, 6. And he's like, it fits. And I'm like, what do you mean it fits? Who are you talking about? I think her first love was Halden. I think her first love was King Tari's son. Because there's the moments where she keep like, oh, I thank God Halden's not here. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why? Do you have a history? It looks like they have a history. Are we gonna get one of Violet's exes here? There's a lot of stuff already going on between her and Xaden. I would like him to be a little bit jealous a bit, because it would be in revenge for the stuff that happened with Kat. We shall see. I'll be right back. I was right. Halden was the first love because Halden literally just came into one of their practices right now, and he basically, like, the moment Halden comes out, she's like, she remembers him, and then I guess they're talking about how they formerly had a relationship and he kind of cheated on her, and they're flirting. They're freaking flirting. And of course, Xaden, because like Halden is about to touch Violet's like braid or whatever, of course Xaden sees in his shadows like attack Halden, the prince. I was hoping that somebody would come and make Xaden jealous, but the prince, and also he alluded to him being a part of the navigation squad that's gonna go find Andarna's like 7th den, and they're gonna spend time with each other, and Xaden's gonna be there too. You guys, this is everything I've ever wanted. Xaden says, let's get 3 things straight, Your Highness, because he overhears Halden and Violet talking, and he says, first, I have remarkable hearing thanks to the shadows at your very feet. Second, I don't control Violet, never have, never will. But third, and most importantly, she really honestly hasn't thought about you, at least not since the second she said eyes on me. I'm sorry, Xaden, but you kind of deserve this for a little bit, because the things that Violet had to go through with her jealousy of Kat, and you barely reassured her in Iron Flame. Xaden, you deserve this a little bit, okay? And I'm here for it. They are in the Isle Kingdom right now. They literally just got here, and they find out that the only ones who can communicate are Taryn and Violet, who can communicate back to each other. And I'm thinking that has to do something with her second signet. Rebecca Yarros needs to stop baiting us and just tell us what her second signet is already. And it's crazy that we're actually on the Isle Kingdom. The Isle Kingdom that we've been talking about for the past 2 books. And it's weird because they're on like a beach setting. And I'm just like, that's so different from like the other places we've been to before. Oh my god, I really hope we find out what Violet's second signet is soon, because it's driving me crazy. Yeah, Violet just said, I'm on chapter 22. And Violet just said, I think we're the only ones who could speak to one another. My god, please find out how you're doing that. Because there's one instance where she and Xaden were, I think, at Cordon, and they were in the same room that Xaden was in when they were there for when her sister and Brennan decided to go pay a visit to Takarius because they needed the luminary in Iron Flame. Well, they're in the same room, and she said something in her head, and he responded back to it, and she said, I didn't realize I said it through our communication, through their bonded like communications and stuff. And he's like, you didn't though. And he's like, and you know I'm not using my intrinsic powers on you. So, oh my god, Rebecca, just please tell us what her signet is, her second signet. Oh, Xaden. He's been feeling the source power like calling out to him since he turned Venom. And then they're on the Isle Kingdom, and the Isle Kingdom is cut off from like magic and everything. He feels peace because he doesn't feel the gnawing need to channel from the source, and he feels peace for the first time since he turned Venom. I feel so bad for him. I just want him to be happy. You know how I said Xaden's all relaxed and everything? He throws off everyone because they have to ride on horses to get to where they need to go. And it's weird for them because they're completely blocked off. So it's weird to see them riding on horses, first of all. Xaden, he's so relaxed because he's like completely cut off from like all the magic and power. They're talking about riding horses, and then he completely out of the blue asked Dane, did you guys ride a lot of horses when you guys were younger? And everyone just like stops and stares at him, and he's like, what? Am I not allowed to ask about your childhood? But the weird thing is, I'm just like, no, it's not that. It's just that, oh, you never speak to Dane like he's an actual person. Oh my god. This is the part where everything good is going on. Technically good, but yet once this good part ends halfway through the book, we are gonna start seeing some pain, and I'm scared. So I'm soaking up the goodness as much as I can. And I hate Halden. That's all I'm gonna say. But Violet is really holding her own. Oh my god, I'm loving this version of her so much. I am so loving the different like areas that we're seeing now. I'm like loving this book so much. I am on page 240. As I said before, no one is like accessible to magic. None of the dragons are able to access their magic, and their bonds are completely nullified between each other. And Violet has a conduit that she has been using to charge and everything so that she has more accurate measures, and she gets hurt because the guards decide to go after them because the negotiations went to crap because of Halden, and unfortunately he uses his Venom powers to channel the conduit that Violet has, and so Violet has to take over the negotiations and ends up fixing everything. I am loving that she's the one fixing everything right now. She's taking over everything. She's holding up her own. This is literally what I wanted from her in Iron Flame. this one I want from her in Iron Flame, and she's doing it, and she is using her intelligence and her wit and everything else to her within her power to broker this deal, and she's able to do it. And I'm like, yes, Violet, I'm so happy for her character arc here. They're in the Isle Kingdom. They met with the owner of a bookstore. She is like the keeper of Papa Sorrengail's like books. She like talks about some sort of bond that she sees between Xaden and Violet. She says, she looks at Xaden, right? And she says, I heard you saying you'd kill my grandson if he took another step toward your beloved young man. How illogically, toxically romantic of you. Have to admit that kind of confident violence isn't what I pictured when Asher talked about you, but the brown hair, those, I guess her brown eyes, and how utterly smitten he predicted you two would eventually be for each other. Well, he described you almost perfectly. Date Atos. She thought he was Date Atos. Mira is oh my god, is dying. She's laughing so hard. We've gotten some revelations. Biggest thing is we met Xaden's mom, and I knew it, as my freaking prediction said at the beginning of this video, that she was in the Isle Kingdom. I don't know how to feel about her because I don't like the fact that she abandoned Xaden when he was young just because of a freaking contract. That's still your child, and he kind of like argued with her about it because he got kind of hurt that not only did she abandon him, she also went off to marry one of the, I forget what they're called. It's like another form of leadership in this book. Triumvirate? Yeah, triumvirate. It's the sort of leadership that they have there. And then the fact that the main triumvirate is married to Xaden's mom. And that's insane. And she's trying to be pushy about it because she just wants to talk to him, and he's not having any of it because of course she abandoned him. And then there's a conversation that Violet has with his mom because she's trying to push through the door to try to talk to Xaden, but she said, and then she's trying to threaten Violet by saying that, oh, if you can have him come to dinner, we can have a negotiation with the triumvirate. What if I can promise you'll get a meeting with the full triumvirate? That's what you need, right? Maybe I can give you some answers. They'll look forward to evaluate your acumen. And then Violet responds, what I need is for Xaden to be alright. If that means setting this house on fire and leaving without accomplishing anything else on this isle, then I'll hand him a torch. I'm like, my girl is protecting her man, and I am here for it. And then there's the whole entire thing where like, I guess they were testing them, and then Garrick gets poison and we almost lose Garrick. We almost lose so many people. I have a feeling we're gonna have a big death at the end of this book, and I keep going back and forth on who I think it's going to be. And then we just up and left after the whole entire poisoning situation, and Xaden obviously just ups and leave and doesn't talk to his mom whatsoever. So I don't know if she's gonna come play another part later on in the series. Being put through the motions right now, and so I'm just gonna keep going, I guess. I just don't want it to finish. I'm so confused on what her second signet is, because there's a few instances where she pushes out a thought or whatever when she's speaking to Xaden, and then she has admittedly a couple of times said, oh, I never said that out loud, or I never said that through the bond, but he still hears it in response to it. And she just assumes that he's like honing his second signet, but he promised her that he would never use it on her. So I don't know if just like that's naturally what it is. There's another instance where they go to the Isle of Umbriel. Violet runs into a bunch of guards who all have silver hair like her, and there's a little girl who comes into one of the arenas that they're like waiting for audience with their queen, and the little girl has hair exactly like Violet, where it's like silver at the ends and then like the rest is brown. And I'm like, so we're just gonna like completely ignore that? That's it? We're just not gonna come back to that or glance over? Because they haven't mentioned it since like that point when we were in Umbriel, so I do not understand where this is heading. And then there's a point where they have to choose the strongest fighters to fight against the other, and at first Xaden's the only one that's going, but then they also do like a blood sacrifice thing where like their god chooses who is gonna fight, so Xaden has to fight also. And the last one is apparently like they assume that Violet's the weakest, so what the priest says is the one who's trying to choose who the fighters are, so be it, our goddess teaches that while battles may be won by the strongest warriors, they may also be lost by our weakest. Both must be tested today. And then that's when she draws like Violet's blood and says, you will fight. So Violet has to fight one of the girls named Marlies, and Xaden's fighting somebody else, and then so is Dane. Well, Dane gets knocked out, of course. And Violet is trying to fight Marlies, and she has Marlies in like sort of like a hold where she's trying to make her yield. And there's a point where there's like a storm happening because it's an open air theater, and there's no magic on these isles because there's like no way to get magic. And for some reason, there's a point where there's a storm happening during the fight, and then Violet wins because she makes her opponent yield. And so you find out that the Marlies person is actually the queen. She's the queen of Umbriel. Violet basically bested her, and she says to her, how did you do it? And then Violet just assumes that it's through the fighting, and she tries to explain it, and she said, I know what you did, but she points to something else, and she said, how did you do that? So she gestures behind me, and it says, I turn following the motion and stumble forwards. The terrace seats carved into the wall are cracked down the middle, and the rock is charred black where lightning struck. And she assumes that it's Violet who did it. How does she do it when she doesn't even have access to her magic? And then they're assuming that the lightning was hers when she said, it's not, I have no magic here. And then when they're with the Andarna's den with like the seventh breed and everything, they're like lecturing Andarna, stating that, oh yeah, you gave her this power. One of the male dragons states to Andarna, and you, our very hope, have handed this human something far more dangerous to wield, haven't you? And then friggin' we just glance over it because Violet says in her head, handed me what? I blink in confusion, and she says, oh, I've never formed a second signet. I haven't manifested a second signet from Andarna. Yes, you have manifested it. It's just that we are not privy to that information, and now I'm annoyed because like we keep getting hints of it, and I seriously thought it was a form of intrinsic signet where she, instead of like being able to read other people's like thoughts or intentions or whatever like Xaden can, it's to the point where she can push her own thoughts to people and she can communicate that way. And I thought that was it, but the way things are happening with her lightning ability, how she was able to tap into it when she didn't even have access to magic. And I don't think she was channeling as a venom because when they were looking to her eyes, there was nothing there. So what is her second signet? It was driving me crazy because I want that answer already, and I feel like we're not going to get it at all till the end because I'm literally on page 414 and I have yet to have any confirmation of what her second signet is. And if I don't find the information soon, I'm gonna go nuts. So I'm about to finish this book. I'm like over 100 pages from the ending, and I will be back with my emotional reaction once I'm like closer to the end. Guys. Second signet time. So Violet wakes up from a bad dream, and then Xaden's with her, and she starts explaining the bad dream to Xaden. He's asking her the whole entire details, and she's like trying to figure out why he's asking so much. You were in my dream. So she starts recounting all the dreams that she had centered around the venom, right? And so he says, oh, have you ever had any dreams like this before? And then she says, yeah, when I was in Samara, when she was like having to do the patrol and everything. You were in Marin's dream. Marin is Kat's like best friend, and then they think of this just the bond. There is, if you're a dream walker, it must be your second signet, the one being bonded to Andarna gives you. It would make sense. Her kind are peaceful, and the ability itself would be passive, even a gift in a culture like that. And she says, there's no such thing as dreamwalking, and the Irids told her that she gave me something more dangerous than lightning. It was one of the reasons why they were so angry with her. And Xaden says there is such a thing. It's absolutely more dangerous than lightning. It's a form of intrinsic. I don't read minds, it can't be right. You don't read them, you walk straight into them when unconscious. And then she asks Andarna, is it true? I did not choose it any more than Terran chose lightning, but you have been known to wander while dreaming. It's harmless, you're mostly drawn to him. She's a freaking dream walker. But that still doesn't explain the lightning though. That's the only thing that I'm like, what? I'm obviously tabbing also because I want to remember all of the plot points in here. She said I didn't do it on purpose. She says it doesn't make sense. Signets are based on our unique bond and the power of the dragon and what we need most, so it's logical that you need to know everyone's intentions when you manifest it. You had to keep the marked ones safe, but there's no part of me who wants or needs to know what anyone else is dreaming, except when I did. I was cut off from her while she slept all those months ago, when Andarna had to do in the dreamless sleep. That makes sense. And then Xaden says, Andarna, that makes sense. My signet doesn't work on dragons, and I'm guessing yours doesn't either, so you unknowingly developed it on a human. And then she's trying to apologize because she says that she didn't do it on purpose, and he says, of course you didn't, you're fine. And then he says, which is what makes you exceptionally dangerous. I can only read someone while while they're awake and unlimited by their ability to shield. No one can shield while they're sleeping. You could potentially walk straight into Melgren's own dreams and he couldn't stop you. Probably wouldn't even know. Violet, they'll kill you if they find out. It won't matter that you're the best weapon they have against the Venom. Against me, they'll snap your neck and call it self-defense. Well, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. Oh my gosh. We're in the battle scene right now. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. Oh, Taryn just got hurt. Oh my god. Zayden is talking to her and then she said, ice pierces through my shields like they aren't even there. And instead of like, oh, typical wall of Onyx that his shield, it's meeting ice now. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And Darna's throwing a temper tantrum right now. Oh gosh. Andarna's not the time. The Irids came back to help out with the battle, and they're giving Andarna a choice on whether or not she can choose to stay with Violet or to go back with her kind. Oh, she left. How could she do this? She left. Oh my god. Oh my god, she freaking left them. Oh, I understand, but my god. Andarna is gone. Oh my god. She'll come back, right? She has to. She isn't dead. The thing will ensure she makes it across the sea and she returns to find me like this, huddled in and on myself. I won't be worthy of her. Oh my god. I'm so confused. What are you? Huh? Dedicate to done? She did what? I'm so confused. Why is it every single chapter stuff is happening right now? I'm just scared to move on. Oh no. No. Garrick is pounding on their door and he said, their lightning wielder. I wasn't strong enough or quick enough. She ripped us straight out of the sky like a pair of pigeons in a windstorm. And then Theophany, the one who's the lightning wielder from the Venons, she let me go to deliver a message. To me? For both of you. They've reached the walls of Drathis. She said if that isn't threat enough, you have 5 hours to bring Bodhi and Violet or she died. Bodhi? Oh my god, they took Mira! They took Mira! Oh my gosh, and why Bodhi? Why Bodhi? Oh my god, if we lose Mira, if we lose freaking Mira. This book is making me so emotional. It's the last 50 pages. Things are gonna go down. They just took Mira. Theophany just told Zayden that if they don't bring Bodhi and Violet, she's gonna die. And she is Mira. So scared. Aw, Vernon said she's my sister too. I am stressed. I am beyond stressed. No! Oh my god, Mira, please be okay. Mira, please be okay. Sloane, you're... Oh my gosh, why is she here? Oh, she's fine. She's fine. Oh my god, I'm tired of these like near-death endings. I don't know if I can do this. We have a new perspective. We have a new POV. It says Rhiannon. Why are we having a perspective from Rhiannon? What is going on? It's weird getting a perspective from Rhiannon. This is so different. I just need Rebecca Yarros to like include perspectives from Zayden and then also the other friends also. Your situational awareness never fails to leave me awestruck. Last 24 pages. I'm so nervous. I'm so freaking nervous. Imogen gets a POV. Okay. I like how Imogen and her dragon Glane, they do the thing where like in Lord of the Rings where they say where he takes down that monster plus all the soldiers on top of it and then they count it as one.
That still only counts as one.
I love how her dragon is teasing her about Garrick. Oh, the door to Imogen's like power is her childhood home. That's her grounding. What is her second signet? She turned a shield to stone. No, Quinn. She calls her Jen. That's her best friend. Oh, Quinn. Oh, last 10 pages. We just lost Quinn. Back to Violet. What? I'm so confused. Oh my god. What? Oh my god, it's Zayden's POV. No, Zayden. Who's your new brother? What? What? ask me to. What do you... Okay, so my final thoughts. So that ending was crazy. What do you mean they're married? What do you mean Imogen erased her memories for the last 12 hours? What's the plan here? What's going on? And I don't know if I went over the fact that Andarna disappeared for a bit or she left, and that broke my heart. The ending didn't make me cry. That part broke my heart and made me cry. I can't believe she broke the bond with Violet, but it made up for it that she showed back up at the end. But now I'm just confused because how did Andarna come back? The isle that she's from, that her den is from, is so far away from where Basgiath is. I think it took them about a week to get to that isle, or 10 days I think it was, but I don't think that like she would have made it there and back by the time that she was able to help out with like Violet and everything at the end. So I'm assuming that she probably either changed her mind or they have some way of traveling faster. I'm not too sure, but I guess we'll find out in the 4th book, right? I don't know if I talked about what the implications that I think that's gonna happen with the next book. Rebecca Yarros in an interview confirmed that there would be a major character death in book 4, and I think I already have a feeling on who it is. There's 2 people that I think is going to be, but we shall see if that comes to play, and I will like talk about my theories maybe later on when like once the 4th book gets announced. But I'm just trying to beat the hangover that it is you get after finishing beloved Empyrean series, and this felt like a huge fever dream because I can't believe everything that happened in this book. I hope all of you enjoyed it too, because I love this book so much and I can't wait for the rest of the series to continue. But anyways, thank you for coming along with me on this ride of a book. I talk about the Fourthwing series so much on my channel because of how much I love the series so much. It's one of my favorites, and it's literally one of my top 5 book series of all time because I love the characters in the world so much. So thank you for coming along with me on this ride, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.